if you were working with a new client, they were coming to you and you could tell that they really identified with this successful, productive person, and you could tell they really wanted to fix parts of their laziness, or sometimes I'm just so tired and I can't do anything. What
Mhm.
is it like when you're guiding someone to be in relationship with that lazy part or with
Yeah,
the part that's trying to achieve something?
sure. Well, some of the questions that might come up there are, what are you telling yourself is true? When the laziness is present, what are you telling yourself that means about you? Because someone else out there is busy being lazy and doesn't have any noise about it. They don't have any commentary, they don't have any judgment, they just have permission to be lazy, and then they're going to go on with their workday after having been lazy for a bit. But usually, someone who's a high achiever, when the thought of laziness or the experience of laziness shows up, there is a judgment, there's a commentary, there's an interpretation. This is
Mhm.
dangerous. This is going to keep me from, this is a threat to who I am. I shouldn't be doing this. Now there's all this moral failure attached to the experience of laziness. When in reality, we're nuanced human beings. Yes, there's achievement, there's laziness, there's hunger, there's desire, there's boredom. This is a nuanced human process. We don't get to distill ourselves down to just the sexy pieces, just the achievement or just the self-promotion. We get to include the laziness too. So the first step there would be, what are you telling yourself is true? What's the commentary about that? And some questions like, is everyone not allowed to be lazy or just you? Are you the only one? Just to get to see that this is not actually in their value system.
Mm.
This is a judgment born of critical fear and shame, not critical thinking. Oftentimes for
Mhm.
overachievers, but when there's self-criticism present, they assume critical thinking is part of it. Just because there's self-abuse and self-criticism happening doesn't mean there's any critical thinking going on at all. So getting to see that that's an automatic thought, not one that is born of their creativity. It's not one that's born of their essence. It's a judgment. Now, we could also call that a trauma response if we were interested in where that came from. That's more of a therapeutic conversation. Well, how come you learned to think that way? Which is helpful. It can help us have compassion for, oh, right, when I'm lazy, here's the thought and here's my judgment about it. And we want to start noticing that in real time. That
Mm.
oftentimes we have so much judgment about the commentary that we can't build a relationship with it. This is why compassion is essential here. So I can be like, oh, there's the judgment. I understand why it's here. And then there's the work around, can I meet it exactly where it's at? Am I willing it to have it be here without it dictating what I can and can't do? So I don't have to get rid of it. I don't have to talk myself out of it. I don't have to convince myself that it isn't true. I don't even have to give myself permission to be lazy. I just have to notice that thought and meet it with a little bit of suspicion, because most of the thoughts in our head come with so much authority and so much gravitas, and we listen like it's gospel. So this is really freedom from the noise in our head. That's where we're going with this.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's so interesting when you do pause to just observe the thought versus the interpretation of the thought. And I read recently Don't Believe Everything You Think by Joseph
Mhm.
Nguyen, and he made the difference of thoughts versus thinking. So the thought of I'm
Totally.
lazy could pop up, but then if you start thinking about the thought, oh gosh, I'm always lazy and I really need to get my shit together and hate that I'm doing, you
Right.
create this whole story on
There's a
top
whole
of
identity
the
there.
thought. Exactly. That
That's
popped up.
right. Yeah. So part of the work with that, when I say building a relationship with it, that's also about being able to notice it over time. So noticing, oh wow, my that laziness noise, the judgment about don't be lazy, it came up at 9 o'clock and it came up at 10:30 and it came up at 11:45. And man, it didn't really matter what I was doing. I was never allowed to, really, I'm never allowed to be lazy, ever. There's never an appropriate moment for that. So getting to see some of the extremity and black and whiteness of those thoughts can help erode the credibility a little bit. And that's all
Mm.
we're looking to do, is meet this thought with a little more curiosity rather than automatic credibility. That's how we build a relationship with it.